Seema Malhotra.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I seek leave to propose that this House debate a specific and important matter that should have urgent consideration, namely the report on the inspection by Her Majesty's Chief Inspector of Prisons of Feltham Young Offenders Institution. This report, published on the 30th of June, follows an unannounced inspection earlier this year. The reports on both Feltham A, children and young people, and Feltham B, young adults, make for shocking reading, particularly that of Feltham A, where the boys are aged 15 to 18. Both raise numerous concerns, but particularly relate to the matters of safety and education and purposeful activity in each. The report has found that the prison is extremely unsafe for staff and for boys and young people within, and has become more dangerous even since the inspections in 2014 and 2015 respectively. The increased violence combined with staffing shortages has meant that 15 to 18-year-olds are on restricted regimes which, according to the Chief Inspector, did little or nothing to contribute to their education, socialisation or clearly their safety. The contrast to the more optimistic report of the last inspection in 2015 is marked. Indeed, this report suggests that things have got markedly worse in the last 2 years and a serious crisis point has now been reached. The youth justice system is there to work to prevent children and young people from under 18 from offending or re-offending. What is happening now is a dereliction of duty. 15 to 18-year-olds are receiving on average 7.5 hours of education a week. 19,000 hours of schooling per year have been lost through non-attendance and cancellation of classes. The regime has been described as quite simply not safe for either staff or boys. Some of the young men were being locked up for 22 hours every day. During the inspection, they found that a third of prisoners were locked up during the core day and not receiving, therefore, training or education. Indeed, the media is also reporting today a High Court ruling that a 16-year-old boy's rights, human rights, were breached by him being kept in solitary confinement at Feltham Young Offenders, and that he was unlawfully denied access to education and the ability to mix with other inmates. There is an urgent need for responses on these issues from the government and a clear plan to address them, including whether the cuts have now led to an unsafe level of resources, the statutory duty and contracts for the provision of education in prison, staffing levels, staffing recruitment, staff experience, staff retention, factors contributing to increased violence, and whether or not now is the time for an urgent rethink on Feltham's future. Mr. Speaker, young people will be coming out of our youth justice institutions more traumatised and with reduced life chances than when they went in. This is our next generation. We are supposed to be an advanced society. Mr. Speaker, these are children and their future and their welfare should be a matter for urgent debate of this House.